Hello, Matt G for IYT here, and today we're looking at the full license mock examination number 1, version 1.6, and we've reached question 51, which reads, you have finished operating at the end of the day and you are aware that there is a strong possibility of thunderstorms. You should A. Disconnect the antenna from the antenna socket but leave it resting against the chassis of the radio. B. Remember that a neighbour's house was recently struck by lightning and that lightning does not strike twice. C. Leave the antenna and the radio connected as it is a mains operated set and has an earth lead. Or D. Disconnect the equipment from the mains and the antenna. So if we flip over to the full license manual, we're looking at the safety chapter here. It does talk a little bit about how thunderstorms form, but really the key takeaway from this is that there are charges that build up, are distributed among those storm clouds, and when they discharge they're looking for a path to ground. And of course radio amateurs tend to have large bits of metal sticking up into the air or have bits of wire hanging through the air, and they are going to either be at ground potential and provide a very easy path to ground for any lightning discharges, or they're going to be close enough to ground that it becomes an attractive path for lightning. So the key thing for preventing damage to your equipment in your shack is to either make sure that your shack and your radios aren't providing the path to ground for lightning, or providing an alternative path such as through a lightning arrestor that might be built into your antenna system. So if we flip over to the answers, let's see what sticks. We've got A, disconnect the antenna from the antenna socket, but leave it resting against the chassis of the radio. Well, disconnecting the antenna from the antenna socket is a great starting move because it removes the radio from being a path to ground for any discharge that comes through your antenna. However, if we leave it resting against the chassis of the radio, it's either going to be touching the chassis of the radio, which is going to be at ground potential and going to be part of that path to ground, or it's going to be close enough that the lightning is a huge amount of charge, and it can easily cross gaps. It can easily spark and jump across from a connector that's resting against the chassis and jump across to the chassis of the radio in order to find its path to ground. So we want to make sure that we're entirely removing the radio from that path to ground. Let's scrub that one out. Then we've got option B, remember that a neighbour's house was recently struck by lightning and that lightning does not strike twice. Well, that's certainly a popular saying. I'm not sure if there's any peer-reviewed science to back that up. So yeah, then we can scrub that one out. We've got C, leave the antenna and radio connected as it is a mains operated set and has an earth lead, and that is exactly something we should be concerned about. It has an earth lead and is therefore a path to ground. We want to take our radio out of that path to ground for any lightning discharge. And then we've got option D, disconnect the equipment from the mains and the antenna, and I would extend that and say, and move the end of the coax well away from your radio or anything else that might be at ground potential and be a path to ground to prevent any damage to anything else. So yeah, it's exactly what we should be doing. Disconnect the equipment from the mains and the antenna. Let's skip down to the answers, see if we got that one right, and we can see of course for question 51 it is indeed option D. Thank you very much. I'll catch you for the next one.